It's the Elan 45.1. As you know, the first one I chartered was a 44, and it left impression 44 actually, and it left a very good impression. Those seats are something I haven't seen on boats twice and thrice the price until recently, and they just make your cockpit area that much larger, because you can have people sit here, be out of the way, but still be part of everything. Look out, enjoy the scenery, but not hinder the people actually steering the boat. The grip, attention to detail, and usually there's a bimini you can put up, being completely protected. This is a new development I haven't seen up until recently. This table can be separated, or it can be raised. For you to make a table, a large table actually, when you raise that part as well, as we don't see here, but also you can lower these parts to make day beds or even night beds for your for your warm summer nights. And look how much storage they have. A little storage for beverages will be nice here, dehydration and stuff, but all in all, very nicely done. And this is out of the way, but still accessible. And what I like about these, it's that they are to the side, so you can't reach them from here, and you don't need to. Meaning, when your autopilot is running, you can still use these without your steering wheel getting in the way. Let's take a look forward. They go with this knobby, large anti-slip surface, which isn't the anti-slippiest I have seen, but what you notice right away is that they go for large usable handrails over your way into the salon, which is a thing many others don't do. It's of course wonderful that they simulate a waterfall here, but it's not wonderful for sound quality purposes, so bear with me. Another Elan thing, I believe introduced earlier than on many other boats I've seen, are those forward up-looking windows. First of all, they allow you to check your sail, and they also open this whole space up and provide basically this space which is going down doesn't feel that cramped because of those windows. They also don't do one hatch, they go for several hatches. They go for one large hatch, which is of course can be easily used to get out if you want to, or just look out when in need. Many boats go for several smaller hatches, I believe, for better ventilation, because air can enter and exit through them. On a boat in this price category, there are no flush mounted hatches, at least not on this one. But they go with a nice wooden finish, nice wooden freeboard here. And look how much attention is paid to protecting the boat from lice scaping on it and whatnot. Everything here seems clean and usable, and you have a space to go out over your nose if you need to. As you know, especially in Northern cruising, this is often a desirable. I will try to go on the other side just to escape the water and make it better. You hear me better. Down is quite steep.
Det koster så 330 € for en nat.
And this is a 4-cabin version from what I can see. So the cabin is aft. In comparison to the E5, you see that they went with a second window here, which is very important in my view to just make the space more livable. And this hatch, combined with this hatch, can provide better ventilation. And also they went for one window here. I'm not sure why they didn't do one here, but it is probably structural. All this seems quite nicely done. Nothing I noticed yet. On the 45s, they actually go with this full navigation station, with this extremely comfy looking seat. Look, you just swing it out and sit. Simple and usable solutions, and now it's out of the way. So all in all, of course, on such yachts, forward-looking stations aren't possible because you won't be looking at anything. But all in all, the station isn't in this station you won't be able to brace yourself with your torso. Also with your legs, it's quite comfortable to just spread them here between the table legs and be seated. They didn't, and these new monitoring panels, which are by the way wired quite traditionally behind them, look very usable, look very nice actually in metal. So a clean surface to work with, something you often don't see on boats of this size. And now the stool is out of the way and done. Although this is a hazard for your feet, this should have been made soft somehow. They didn't skimp on the rails here, going all the way, and the whole feel of the Salon is quite nice. In this larger boat, especially in the 4-cabin configuration, they don't go for the Salon for the seating on all the widths, as is done on many other Elans. Instead, they provide this seating which just which can be swiveled, or basically made from something like kitchen seating into salon seating with just by lifting it and swinging it that way. Very beautifully made table, by the way. Now, sitting here, overlooking the kitchen, which is something I haven't seen before, I have to admit. We notice this large fridge and freezer in a configuration I haven't seen before, actually. It's interesting because it takes up quite some space in the salon, and they more or less celebrate this large metal surface. My usual concern about the ventilation not being right above the stove, and also that this thing doesn't, I can't open that because it's already open, doesn't close like that, completely blocking this part. If it would, it could protect it from grease and everything coming out. We will see what they have here. Basically more storage in an interesting position. I haven't seen such a planning, and notice you have to take a step down to get here. Also, I'm not sure why these gaps are here and how they help. I'm not sure about this design feature. This might be a tripping hazard. Going forward, the kitchen isn't too deep, but luckily the sinks are. Always a nice thing to have. Grain doesn't match here, but it's basically expected on a boat this size. Also, there is a second step, which is made on most Elans. The second step, which can be a tripping hazard. Now, this is a forward cabin with bunk beds, but interestingly made, they basically cut away part of the storage to make a wider bed, like a small nook for people. Of course, those cabins almost always miss windows, which can be quite uncomfortable for people living here. My friends often moan if I ask them to live in such a cabin. On the other side of the double cabin this is obviously basically a charter version, because it's so large. And interesting enough, they have a door stopper right over here. This is attention to detail, which stops this door in its tracks, although quite noisily, and gives you access to this small bathroom with a rail nonetheless. Nice to find shower towels, but also nice if you just want to grab onto something. And this is also, which shouldn't be forgotten, this is narrow enough so you can sit in here and brace yourself against the weather and do your deed. Also, the small mirror is always a plus. From here, from this small corridor, if you will, we get forward to this semi-master cabin, or whatever you call it. I love that they didn't. These windows are just very, very nice. These windows are extremely. They just open it up. Look at the size of this hatch. It's huge. And look at the size of this window. They are also huge. Look, even though it's artificial lighting, they just light up this whole place. Also, it's quite small. Look, you you sleep basically from here to here. But even considering that, it doesn't feel cramped. And they went with quite a lot of storage. I'm not sure about this Finnish decision. I've seen it on many boats this time around. It either feels very nice or very cheap, and on this it doesn't feel very nice. So that's what I like about Elan. They might be not the most expensive, but they go with many design decisions which just help alleviate those concerns and just help enjoy their boats better. And in the back we have a second bathroom. I love that they didn't go for like 5 bathrooms. A 5 is, of course, no one would go with 5 for 4 cabins, but many do go with 4. I've seen boats, 45-foot boats with 4 cabins and 4 toilets, which is just too much in my opinion. Come on, if you have people you don't want to share a bathroom with, don't take them sailing with you. Bam, problem solved. They go with 1, but more spacious, with a separate shower, actually with a separate hanging space for your clothes. Very nicely done. And also a sitting space, although I would have preferred some wooden surface. This door, being a 2-part door, is also easily closed without me having to tuck my belly in too much. All in all, I miss another mirror. Their mirrors look a little bit cheap, I have to admit, because they are just basically put on there instead of somehow built into the space. And as we know, as another surface just glued on top of that one instantly provides more and better looking layout. But all in all, this toilet is, what I don't like is that you can't brace yourself here because of these towel hangers, and also this doesn't feel sturdy enough to brace when you have to use it underway. But in this part of the boat, by the way, the exploration was glorious. Check out the video. On this part of the boat, the windows can still be quite large, which helps a lot. Now I spent too much time in the toilet. These magnetic things are a little bit weird, so they make just too much noise, especially when people are sleeping and you want to use it. But here we see this hatch opened, it's a little bit bad if you hit your head if you want to go in, but also very good for ventilation. It's large, it's not at cockpit height, which allows you to just, more air comes in from the back, you know? So 4 windows in such a cabin is a must in my opinion, and they went for it and they did it. So I just reconfirmed my warm feelings towards Elan. Many nice design decisions incorporated into boats that are not that expensive. At least not more expensive than many competitors, but for the same money you get many more nice features.